Well, it's transfer deadline day, and you're here with me, Jamie Martin. I'm going to be bringing you all the latest transfer news for Nottingham Forest. This evening, you can notice that my voice is a little bit more cracked than it usually is, but it was quite a busy night last night. Not with transfers, it was with other things. So it's good to be here. It's good to be bringing you this transfer deadline stream. It was meant to be at 7:30, but me and Dor said maybe best to cut it down a little bit and just get as much information as we can in kind of a smaller amount of time. Just means that it's less kind of watching for you guys to know. I know that 3 or 4 hours of watching would be an incredible task. So even you guys turning up now to watch is really appreciated. We're going to be here until 11 p.m. Yes, that is 11 p.m. 2 hours or an hour and 58 minutes from me saying this. We're going to be bringing you all the latest transfer news, including Angelo Gabriel, who may be signing for Nottingham Forest. Tom Colomos from Twitter is saying that he could be signing. He is currently undergoing a medical in Brazil, according to this reporter, and could potentially sign for Forest. But it is going to go down to the wire. We are going to be doing a call-in show, so just give me 5 minutes. I know there's a couple of people waiting in the lobby. Bear with me 5 minutes just whilst I do an introduction, and then we're going to start the call-ins. Okay, so I'm just going to start by saying this. If you've just tuned in, this is the live transfer deadline day show here on DoreOnTour. Make sure you get your comments in. I want to hear your thoughts on the transfer news coming out of Nottingham Forest. JONJO SHELVEY completing his medical. Felipe also completing his medical. And contract terms currently being discussed by Felipe and Nottingham Forest. And it's literally the final details. As for Keylor Navas, medical in Paris. And then it looks like he'll travel over to England before getting announced as a Nottingham Forest player, should everything go to plan as we expect. So I don't expect too much more going on other than that. But at the moment, the 3 main people you've got to take note of is Angelo Gabriel from Santos, Keylor Navas, and Felipe. JONJO SHELVEY is essentially a done deal, but Felipe, there's still just a small amount of stuff to go. But we're going to start our call-in show. You can do the call-in by clicking the link pinned by Mr. Dor, and that will allow you to join our lobby. Get your thoughts in. Tell us a little bit about the players that we are signing. Ask any questions you want to ask. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And I'll be on my phone all night, even on stream, bringing you the latest Twitter transfer news and giving you a bit of an update on what is going on in the world of football. But let's kick off the call-in show. Oh, he's just left the lobby, actually. But if you, I think I was, somebody was just in the lobby, but they've left. If you do want to join the call-in show, as I say, click that link, get your thoughts in. Let's go to the comments, shall we? Kel, hope you're doing well. Kel, good to see you. Rad Dad, hope you're doing well. Hopefully see you maybe Sunday. Eve, good to see you. Brain Clough, hope you're doing okay. Claire, how are you doing? I hope you're okay. Paul, good to see you. And it's going to be a pleasure to bring you a couple of hours of transfer news. Absolutely love it. Can we see the play button? I don't have it, so you're gonna have to ask Dor to see that again. Just watching JONJO SHELVEY saying goodbye to Toon fans at halftime in the cup game. Yeah, I've seen it. It's amazing. And to be fair, I just think it's a really nice mark of respect. He's been at Newcastle since 2015, so 7 or 8 years now. He's been a massive part of their kind of evolution as a team, especially coming through the Championship and back into the Prem, that kind of servant that they needed. And yeah, he's just been a rock for them. So I think it's a bit of a sad time for Newcastle fans for sure, but it's the next stage of his career. And JONJO SHELVEY coming to Nottingham Forest. Colin, hope you're doing okay. Evening, Peter, hope you're doing okay as well. Felipe wants a house in West Bridgeford with an inside toilet. Yeah, fair play to him. I think most would probably live in West Bridgeford as well. It's a nice area, pretty close to the ground as well. Fair play, Brain. You totally killed Danilo and Angelo. Yeah, for sure. Good work. Sonny D1865, Eden Reds is going down to the wire. It will be going down to the wire. Now, Michael Dawson is bringing you some stuff on Sky as well, so I won't be offended if you are going to go and watch him on transfer deadline day. I've already spoken to him today. And assured him that it's going to be a very busy day. He knows it, and he's going to be bringing you live on Sky Sports as well. So that's a nice one. You can maybe have Sky Sports on one TV, and maybe, I don't know, or maybe you're going to have Sky Sports on your phone, and maybe DoreOnTour on the TV. That's the hope. Hashtag Josh, hope you're doing good. It's all hashtag NFFC tonight. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. Toon fans respect what Shelvey has done for them. Yeah, exactly. And I just want to say as well, tell me what your thoughts on the signing of JONJO Shelvey, because I think he's a really solid player. He's a servant, as I say. He's someone that's devoted years and years to a club that was for a long time underperforming and got relegated and came back up. And he was part of that whole process. And now you look at Newcastle, see the success that they're reaping from the hard work they've been putting in and the investment and restructuring of the club off the pitch. It's really good to see. So I'm happy for JONJO getting that move to Forest. I'm happy for Forest because they've got a solid player there with, and I know there's some concerns about his injury record, but, I think he'll be okay. But a player with a good vision, a good long pass, and a very good shot. So I'm looking forward to people saying shoot on the edge of the box, and maybe we'll get a JONJO Shelvey screamer. Who knows? Good evening, Jay. Hope you're doing well, Sebastian. It's great to be bringing you more transfer news. I'm going to be keeping on it as much as I possibly can because at the moment it's looking like Lewis O'Brien is going to move to Blackburn. He has completed his medical by the looks of it. That's what Alan Myers Media is saying at the moment. So that is all good news and good to see that that Lewis O'Brien is getting that move because at the end of the day, I think he's earned it. I think he's earned to move somewhere else. But it is a shame. It is a shame that being said that he does have to leave, but he needs game time. And unfortunately, he's not going to be getting that at Forest. This is the reality of the Premier League as well. It's a brutal league. And there's not really a lot you can do about that, unfortunately. There's no sentiment in the Premier League. But it's good that he's going to be able to go and get some game time somewhere else. So Lewis O'Brien to Blackburn, looking like it's almost going to happen. Had his medical earlier this evening. So all well and good there. Looking forward to seeing how JONJO plays. I mean, if you're looking forward to it, Josh, or anybody that's in the chat, please feel free to join the call-ins. You can do so via the little link that's pinned. Be good to hear some of your thoughts as well. This is a fan show tonight. So as much as I'm going to be talking about transfers and bringing you that, 2 hours of talking by myself will be difficult. So please join me if you can. If he's a cheap deal, then having JONJO as a squad player is great for us. Nothing to be sniffed at. Absolutely. I mean, he's coming out of contract in the summer anyway, so it was always going to be a fairly cheap deal, and I haven't seen a disclosed fee yet. But that being said, it's a good deal for everybody at Forest, I would say. And I don't think it's a massively long-term investment, if you know what I mean. You've seen with the likes of Danilo, potentially Angelo. These are long-term investments that will also pay off in the short term in terms of a decent performance. But they're going to keep growing as players. And Danilo has got so much potential, even considering how well he's already started, to become a really, really good and exciting prospect. So it's exciting. But before I get to someone we've got in our... Oh, no, look, we've got Des here in a minute. Just bear with me one moment. I can see him smiling. I'm ready to talk to you, Des. Evening, Jay. How are you, mate? Could you see Angelo deal going through? I mean, look, the Navas deal was dead in the water earlier. And then it came back after PSG said that they would agree the terms. There's been a few different... So from what I'm told, there's been changes in the terms from PSG. They've said they wanted to do one thing, then another. And it's been a kind of bit of back and forth. But now they've agreed on something. Potentially the same with Angelo, except we can't do it as a loan anymore. It would have to be a permanent buy, I'm pretty sure. So I would say it's going to be tough. It's going to be really difficult, maybe. I'm not feeling too optimistic about it. But who knows? Anything could happen. But let's talk with Des. Let's see what Des is thinking about transfer deadline day. It's a busy day today, Des. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you? I thought I'd pop in on someone else's show after encouraging people to join me on a Monday night.
I was going to say, I feel like I'm Des now. I'm doing the call-in show now. I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it's good to be able to talk a bit of football with yourself. Des, I want to ask you, what do you make of these deals that we've got so far? So the ones that we've pretty much 100% got, JONJO, Shelvey and Felipe, but Navas also looking like he's going to join as well. What do you kind of make of those three deals?
Starting with Shelvey, because he looks like the one that's done, doesn't he? He's the one that's been seen around the club, and people have said he's virtually signed. He seems to be saying his goodbyes at Newcastle as well. I'm kind of talking myself into this one. I said yesterday on Dialing with Des that it it was one that, I kind of go, at first, but I'm almost coming around to the idea that he's actually a great player who shifts the ball around so well, isn't he? He's a footballer that gets the ball and he can pick a pass. What I've wanted from Forest for a long time, even when we've not been very good, is almost somebody who can get amongst teams. I think one of the reasons we're put off by him is because he's one of those players we love to hate, isn't he? In the opposition, tends to get his foot stuck in, he gets himself involved in little arguments. But I think Forest need a little bit of that, especially with Ryan Yates appearing to be missing for the short term at least. He's the kind of player I think can come in and perhaps work around Danilo. Danilo, of course, looks real quality. I think JONJO SHELVEY could be a player who does a lot of the work and gets the ball to him, and he can pick his passes and move the ball around. Both of them together, one spraying it long and mid-range, and Danilo perhaps breaking up play and playing it short range. Could be a real nice, tidy midfield in there. And again, he's got Premiership experience, hasn't he? I've been crying out for it all year and talking about the guys that have done well in the team this year. We weren't expecting much from Keylor, Sergio Aurier. These players have really sort of surprised us, haven't they, Jay? They've pleasantly surprised us. So again, we might just see this kind of thing from JONJO SHELVEY. I'm hoping he fits in quite nicely, and again, a player that sort of, in many ways, for us, his aggressive nature, his combative nature. It's the Forest way as well, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's undoubtedly. Sorry, yeah, I was just going to say it's undoubtedly a strong signing. And we talk of experience with Shelvey. Felipe has that as well, albeit not in the Premier League, but at a really high level at Atletico. So another good signing there.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm not going to claim to know too much about him. I do know a little bit, but that's the one that excites me a little bit more. Because I know he can make a massive difference if he's half a player. One of the areas Forest is struggling at the moment is centre back. We like the guys there. Worrell's really picked up his form. Bolly, after making a shocker of a debut, I've been praising him, singing his praises and the things I do over recent weeks. Lots of standout, even man of the match performances from Bolly. But I think it's still an area that most of us concede that it definitely needs improvement. We need someone big and strong and authoritative in there. And I'm hoping this guy brings that. Of course, he's got age, he's got experience. So with that, I'd like to see someone with a bit of authority, demanding from a demanding type of centre back who communicates well. Of course, there's going to be a language thing. I appreciate that too. But football is its own language sometimes, isn't it, Jay? And you get someone like that who can just organise and win headers. That's important as well, isn't it? Somebody who's agile. I'm not sure what he's like along those lines, but I quite like the thought of that player. I know he's not played too much for Madrid this season, but Madrid are one of the top defensive sides in Europe and have been for years and years, haven't they? So if we're looking to take defensive players from them, you'd expect somebody who's well drilled, determined, again, a bit of a fighter, someone to get in amongst them, because that's what Diego Simeone demands from his team. So again, I like that kind of. I'd like to see that kind of edge at times when we are getting a little bit downtrodden in games, because it has happened. It will happen again. Where we're at the moment, there'll be games where we take a bit of a stuff in. Hopefully, these guys can sort of get amongst the opposition and just upset them a little bit, just put them off the step. You've seen it with Haaland recently, haven't you? I'm not saying we'd be able to keep him quiet, but when people have stood on his toes, fouled him in the first 30 seconds, he's lost his rag a little bit. I remember the Everton game in particular. He really lost it in the first half when what's his name? the centre back guy. I can't think of his name, but he really got on top of him. And I think if we get someone like that who can just upset these guys, you know, it might just sort of keep us in games for that little bit longer. And if we can start nicking the first goals away from home, maybe, you know, it might just shore things up and get the other team thinking a lot more about what they're doing.
Well, I mean, it's absolutely right. And there's when it comes to the experienced kind of players, we're at that kind of pivotal moment in the season where not only do we have injuries to think about, but it's the personnel to replace them. And arguably, I know there's people that have said, well, I would have put Lewis O'Brien there, but it's been quite evident to me that O'Brien doesn't have the confidence to fill that position right now. I would say that O'Brien has probably got the ability to go and fill in for the players that aren't there at the moment, and perhaps play where JONJO SHELVEY would play, right? But he hasn't got the confidence to do that. We don't even know if he's going to come back to Forest in the summer, and I'm really shocked about that, to be honest, because I really like Lewis O'Brien. I think he's a massive prospect. He's 23, and his Premier League career will come back, and it will be bright, and it will be, you know, there will be sparks there for him. But I wish that was at Forest. But if Blackburn do go up, it's not going to be.
I totally agree, Jay, and it was something. I don't want to be a know-it-all or I told you so, but first game of the season against Newcastle, I thought he was fantastic at snapping about, and this is what he built his reputation on. Snapping about, and the way I've just spoke about Ryan Yates and JONJO SHELVEY and getting in amongst players, absolutely brilliant and getting the ball back. But in possession, you know, he wasn't quite there. Right from the very first game at Newcastle, he tended to take the ball off someone's foot. And then his next move was wrong. He'd get the ball taken off him. He'd give it away. And we all know in the Premier League that it's about retaining the football, isn't it? We've now got Danilo and JONJO SHELVEY. You know my thoughts on the likes of Mangala and Foyer. You know, good players, really good players. But again, it's all about ball retention. And Forest have identified. It seems that Forest and Steve Cooper and whoever's making these signings have identified that now. And Lewis O'Brien just weren't stepping up on that level. A really sort of busy, workman-like player who you want to like, you know, you want to get behind, but it just didn't happen for him, does it? And sometimes it happens. I'm like yourself. I don't think Lewis O'Brien's Premier League career is over, but I probably do at Forest. You know, I think it's probably a step too far, a step too soon for him. He had a cracking season in the Championship last year. If he can pick that up again, he might just be better prepared next time.
Well, I hope so. I really do wish him all the best. It's looking like he's going to join Blackburn this evening. He had a medical earlier this afternoon. So, as I say, all the best. He's going to join on loan. Obligation to buy 10 million if they get to the Premier League. And Des, kind of the final question I'm going to ask you is, what do you think that Angelo will offer should he come to Forest? It's another forward, a winger kind of player. What do you think he could offer Forest?
I'm not sure, because again, I'm not going to pretend to know a great deal about him, Jade. But at the end of the day, if he is that kind of forward winger type player, it's the type of player that Forest have been linked with recently. It sounds like it's somebody Steve Cooper might be interested in getting. We've got the number 10s, you know, we've got the midfield players now, it seems. We've got the out-and-out striker in Chris Wood, you know, the target man. And of course, Tyrone can play in a variety of sort of those positions from what he's done recently when he's fit. So it seems like we've been linked with the only sort of vaguely linked with, no massive sort of interest and nothing confirmed, but there was talk of Zaha at one point. There was talk of St. Maximan at one point. You know, there was another one I can't think at the moment. Gordon, even, you know, that type of player who sticks out wide. And so it would make total sense if Forest had been sort of sniffing around those players and making one or two inquiries. You know, now with the links they've got in Brazil and the Brazilian players they've got, if there's that kind of exciting flair type player who perhaps plays wider and can get the ball in and bit of a sort of a bit of a sort of wide wing wizard type player, that kind of thing. I think he kind of ticks the boxes, doesn't he? If that's what they've been looking for, and it's something that a little bit different again. When we've signed players recently, especially attacking players, they've seemed to be a little bit different than what we've got, aren't they? I look at Chris Wardy, he's that out and out target man. Scarpa, he's just different. Whilst he's a number 10, you'd think is different to what Morgan Gibbs-White is as a number 10. So it's good that whilst they're creating a competition for players, that it's almost like sort of different players as well, which perhaps could influence games differently. That's where I'm getting to with that. Certain games suit certain players. So it might be that thing where Cooper's identified that in some games we need to get the ball wide, get the ball in, and that type of player might just fit the bill. So we're quite excited again if we're signing another attacking Brazilian player. It feels like it's just like watching Brazil sometimes, doesn't it, Jay? At the moment, it's quite exciting when it all gets ticking. I was really whetted. My appetite was whetted when I was watching Danilo and Scarpa and Morgan Gibbs-White in that Bournemouth game, even though it weren't quite working out. I thought when this clicks, we could be a real game and a challenge for anybody.
Well, I mean, Danilo is a very strong link, and I think that he did some good work against United. It's a shame that we're not going to have Morgan Gibbs-White, but Des, it's been brilliant to talk to you and ask you a few questions. And Des will be bringing you more talk shows and call-ins at some point in the future, so I really appreciate you joining me this evening.
What I will say, Jay, just been for a walk along the river.
Oh, here we go.
The lights are on.
Are they on?
The lights are on. They're still on at this time.
Oh, it's got to be JONJO and Felipe. It's got to be both of them.
The lights are on this evening right now. I can see out the window. The lights are still on. So wow. What are we? An hour and a half. There could be still some signings to come.
Wow. Well, anything can happen in that hour and a half. We saw it last season, last transfer window with Michy Batshuayi when it went literally down to the wire and we were so close, but we didn't quite get there in time. Well, Des, keep us up to date on the light situation because I'm interested. Try and pick your head around if you can. And I'll catch up with you very soon. Really appreciate you joining me, mate.
All right. Keep going, Jay. Plow on. Plow through.
Take care. See you soon. It's deadline day here on DoreOnTour, and that was the amazing Des Oldham there. Remember, you can get your call-ins here on DoreOnTour. You have to click the link that is pinned, but you do have to have your camera on or just in case, just so when you're in the lobby so that I know you're a real person, just for a brief moment. So let's have a look. See, my Portuguese is not that great, so I'd really struggle with that. JONJO is in Newcastle. Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't know if maybe the pictures have been taken already or what, but it'll be Felipe in that case. But Navas might be on the way to England as we speak. Who knows? It'll be really interesting to see if he might get his photos taken tonight. I wish. But a 5 times or 3 times Champions League winner even, Keylor Navas playing for Nottingham Forest. If you had told me in September 2021, when Cooper just joined, that we'd even be close to getting a 3 times Champions League winning goalkeeper, especially Keylor Navas, by the way, I would have been blown away. And I've got a friend called Declan who might never watch this stream, but he might just do it. And I remember saying to him on the way to the shop, wouldn't it be great if we could sign a keeper like Keylor Navas? He rarely ever plays. And I'll get him to verify this for you all one day. And now we're signing him. So it is absolutely brilliant. Interesting. But they've probably already done the media, as I say, for JONJO and most likely Felipe as well, because everything we hear will just be delayed and a lot of it's already been done. Dylan, good to hear from you. Now we've got a call in from Chris, who is in the chat at the moment. I can't actually see him on the camera, so I don't know if he's currently available to talk on the call in. So we'll wait until he's showing us that it is him. And so remember, you can do the call-ins. So we'll add Chris in now. Chris, it's good to have you on the show. You're on mute at the moment. what would you make of the latest transfer news so far? I think you're muted at the moment, Chris. No, not having any luck with Chris there, unfortunately. Would be a brilliant signing. Let's talk Keylor Navas then, because I know that Keylor Navas has been a controversial one in some aspects. There's been all the talk of finances. There's been all the talk of his age. I just want to say my piece on this. I rate Keylor Navas as a keeper and have done since he's been, years before he was, at PSG, Real Madrid time. I really rated him and I still do now. I think that he's a really astute keeper. I think he's obviously got that experience that every team really desires. It's the off the pitch kind of stuff as well that I can imagine he'll be doing, working with all the younger goalkeepers. To have someone like that as a mentor as well as a player is quite something. And it's not very often you come across goalkeepers like Keylor Navas that will allow you to take them on and want to join your club. So for me, Keylor Navas is a huge signing. It's really good. It's promising. We're not signing him on a permanent deal. So the money for a transfer, 4 million that was touted before, it's not the case. It's a loan deal, 6 months. And we're going to be seeing now, hopefully, what will be going on with his loan and maybe signing him on that, as I say, until summer. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We genuinely don't know what is going to happen with his time at Forest. We don't know how many games he's going to play given Henderson's injury. But that being said, he'll provide the game time that we need him to. And PSG will be paying a significant amount of his wages as well. So that just makes it that much better, a bit more exciting. But we've got someone in the lobby, and I didn't want to add him in. And I was talking all mushy language for a very, very slight moment because he was just throwing his arms up at me, and I'm looking at him whilst trying to think of what I'm saying about Keylor Navas. So Mr. Dore is here this evening, everybody, unfortunately. So Dore, welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. I just want to ask you, what do you make of these signings? Is there who are you most looking forward to seeing at Forest?
First of all, Jay, you're doing a fantastic job. People get involved, man. I want people to phone Jay now. If there's 99 people, please come and phone in, please, if you can. Because Jay does a fantastic job, and I love people going like Des has just been on, and I thought I'd share some little bit of love to him as well. So, transfer wise, it's getting exciting, isn't it, Jay? I'm getting a bit excited. Every 2 minutes, checking my phone and all that. So
mate, you've got to be on Twitter all day. I swear to you, I've been glued to Twitter all day, and that is unhealthy, 100%. But you've got to be doing it, right?
You got to do it. But it's like I think the Navas signing, it's mad. I think it's. Would you consider it a big statement? A big statement, like I said, in the future, maybe plays in it like him.
Yeah. I mean, there's a big marketing aspect. We spoke about it the other night with Dylan about that, and we spoke about the kind of the marketing aspect he's going to bring, that publicity side of it, because that when Keylor Navas signs for Nottingham Forest and Forest announce it and he puts on that goalkeeper shirt, you are going to see millions and millions of views, tens of millions of views. Former Champions League winner joining Nottingham Forest, the smallest city to ever win a Champions League. If you didn't know that, I'm pretty sure Nottingham. But it's a big signing for sure. It's definitely a statement, but there's also a lot of substance behind it. For on the pitch stuff. So really exciting. But how are you feeling about Felipe and JONJO SHELVEY then?
I think the Felipe one is really interesting. I know there's loads of rumours that Cook could believe in, but as you know on Twitter, he wants to fight for his spot. You need experience. I think that's important. He's got, like I said, he's played for Brazil. He's got so much experience as well. Like, I think it's a massive help for Forest. He played alongside Joe Wall as well. That will help Joe as well. I think with JoJo, I think it's a massive, another big statement, because we all know what kind of player he is. He's not afraid to tackle, like man himself, Ryan Yates. But listen, I'm excited for these players. I know everyone can say, "Oh, we brought in 26, 27 players," but by experience, I personally think. How many players were brought in this window? What is it?
This window,
Yeah, this window.
Scarpa. Well, Scarpa's kind of because we signed him in
Yeah.
the summer, but we'll count him for now. Scarpa, Danilo, Chris Wood. Is that
Chris Wood?
Chris? That's it so far, isn't it? Scarpa, Danilo, Chris Wood. No, there's one more. I'm sure there is.
Wood, Scarpa, Danilo.
That's it, isn't it? That is it.
Bloody hell, that. I personally think that's it.
Is that it? We've got
so used to it. And not like what you can say, what players has been great since the window. You got that Morgan Gibbs White, Loddy slowly started getting come to terms being a Forest player. This window, if you look at experience for this league, is vital. And when you got players like JONJO, SHELVEY, experience in the Premier League with Liverpool, Newcastle, great signings. So, I personally think you got to praise. What's the director of football's name again?
Oh, Felipe Giraldi.
That's it, Felipe Giraldi. He's the one behind his deals, and you got to praise him. Like in the past, look at the past January windows we had. Like last year was amazing. Like we bought Steve Cook, Davis, Big Sam, big signings for us. But this one, I personally think it's been a great window for us. And getting Navas as well, Felipe, experienced players as well. Can't complain, can you? Cannot complain at all.
No, and January is such an important window. As we saw it last season with Graben being out with his injuries, and just needing to strengthen and kind of move away from Figueiredo, with all due respect to him, and bring in a more experienced person like Steve Cook, as we did. January proved to be probably the most important window for years. In terms of this January window, do you think that this January window is going to be a decider in our season, or is it literally just going to be adding to an already informed side? I mean, in terms of the league, we are one of the most informed teams. Well, definitely one of the most informed teams in the new year, but in the top 10 for informed teams overall.
I think with the window that we have to do we need to? Do I believe this team can stay up with the players that we brought in? Yeah, because like if you look at it, like I said, the players out of contract, you can say Jack Cole back, who's been immense for us as well. Do I think this team, what now, can do it better next season if we stay in the Premier League? I think we can, because as I said, everything's changed behind the scenes as well. So I personally think we can stay up. But
well, I mean, anything can happen. There's a few players that in this team haven't played in the Premier League before. Mangala, Scarpa, Danilo, Brennan Johnson, Worrell. These guys, a lot of these guys haven't played in the Prem before. Renan Loddy, and they're all kind of they're playing up to that Premier League standard, or to a good standard, I would say now. So they're advancing, and then you're bringing in these experienced guys that have played in the Prem. Surely it can only be even more beneficial to have. I mean, they might be older guys, but to have that kind of mentor around you to tell you a bit more about how the Premier League works.
I said, the players that we like to say, I'm trying to read out your question. I believe that this window's been great. I know, like I said, we've brought in like 26 players. We can hop on like there's been players that are rubbish. Like I said, we can say who's the one gone to Seville, but Balde, rubbish. Dennis. I don't like to slag Forest players in, because when they play with Forest, I want them to do the business. But if you look at it, this way forward, Dennis is rubbish. O'Brien, since Leslie Gale, I think we said it on the show. He's not been great at all. But I'm excited. I think I'm really excited, Jay. I think all his Forest fans should be. So, Yeah, I just want the Navas. The Navas deal is I think, like Clough said, spot on. But, right, I'll get go, Jay, because I'm spoiling the show. This is your show.
No, I've got some bad news for you all, unfortunately. It's not to do with Keylor Navas, but it is indeed to do with Angelo from Santos. According to Andre Ostgaard, he's being told that there is no deal been made between Angelo or Santos and Nottingham Forest. Angelo wants the move. He's keen on a Premier League move. But the problem is they really aren't reaching a deal. Apparently, there's varying reports, though, so do take it with a pinch of salt for now. But situation updating.
Right, quickly, I just heard, seeing this is coming from Olympiacos. Is it Eugene's Joe?
Yeah.
This is from Jaws Side Rides. His loan spell has been terminated. He is returning to Forest.
So you've got another. What is he? Right? Is he a right winger? I think
no, striker. Striker.
Or striker.
He's a number 9. People in the comments, what do you think? I've not seen much of him at all. I saw him at the World Cup as well. There's a comment from Nick. I've not seen none of him, but I think there's rumours. I don't think you know, Jay. There was rumours that he was going to is it MLS?
MLS, yeah. I've seen the
You think we should give him a chance? Should we give him a chance? He's number 9.
Not in my opinion. I mean, he's what 30 now. He didn't do it at Olympiacos at all.
If you can't do it there.
But in all fairness, I mean, I know that Olympiacos have faced a bit more challenge than they have in recent years this year, but you've got to be doing better. And to be honest, it was a strange signing from the get go. Are you really going to pick him over someone like Chris Wood, who's just signed, or Sam Surridge? Yeah, I just don't think you are. Get him to the MLS, get a bit of money for him, and leave it at that. I think.
Well, I think basically, I think it's been a quick window. Experienced players, and we need.
It's not over yet, Dor. Hey, we've got another 2 hours of it. We've got another hour and a half of this, my friend.
We might be with another player. We never know. But right, I'm gonna get going. Jay, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for bringing me on your show.
I appreciate it. You can come on my channel anytime, Dor.
Come on, there's 98 people in. If you want to come on, just come on and talk about Forest. Jay's coming in and talk about what's going on. So there's 98 people in the links at the top. Just come on and talk about Forest. That's what we do, people.
And we can talk about transfers, players in the team, anything you want to talk about. It's your deadline day show. And
there's 100 people on. Hit the like button as well for Jay. Please do hit the like button. Subscribe, because he's doing a fantastic job. And he's a great lad. He's got a big future, Jay, for me. And I want him to do well. And people as well. There's 100 people in. Please help and support Jay. Get his super chats in as well. Because Jay needs getting paid. And that, so
get out of it. I love doing this. I really appreciate it, Dor. Really appreciate it.
People, like I said, please hit the subscribe button, and hopefully Jay can announce the Navas deal on here.
Let's do it. I'm going to announce the Navas deal, and I'm also going to announce when Dor hits 11k. Let's get him to 11k and get this video to
right. Before I do go, right, what am I on now? I'm on. Let me double check. Okay, I'm 52 away. There's 92. 52 to 11k. People, get me to 11k before the show finishes. Please do. As well, subscribe to Jay as well. Jay's got his channel as well. His link is in the title. Please do hit subscribe to Jay, but get me to 11k before the end of the stream. Please do it now. Right, Jay, I'll let you go. Keep good work.
Thank you very much, Dor. That was the amazing DoreOnTour. I'm DoreOnTour now. That is amazing Dor there. And he's going to be coming on again at some point, bringing you some more shows. It is his channel after all. But if you can, please share it to any groups, any people that you might know that would be interested. But it's a big window. This is a very big opportunity for Nottingham Forest. But at the same time, there's going to be some heartbreak. And I think when it comes to Angelo Gabriel, we might be seeing that. But that being said, don't say anything just yet. You never know. I mean, I was going to say commentators curse and all that. I don't want to curse anything. But it's looking like at the moment, Keylor Navas will sign and Felipe will go through as expected. Deal sheets, indeed, very important. We will see what happens. It's tough. It's not easy. But we're going to we're going to use the loan for that for Keylor Navas. So a loan for Angelo is looking almost impossible. But can we cough up £20 million? 16, 17 million pounds it was. That was what Paul Taylor was saying. I'm not sure we can. I don't know what the FFP guidance is at the moment, but we've been very strict, and loans is what we're going for at the moment. So will it be lucrative business? Now, joining me on the call-ins is Mark. Mark joined earlier, but Mark, it's good to have you here. How are you doing?
Not too bad, Jay. Sorry, mate. I'm trying to. It's that time of year. It might be deadline day, but I need to pay my tax today. So you don't have to do that. You're too young at the moment, but so that's a deadline for me. So
it's a busy one all round for you then.
Yeah, so it's a different kind of deadline, but yeah, I don't really know too much about. The thing is, JONJO Shelvey. I mean, I remember seeing JONJO Shelvey playing for Charlton when we played them down at the Valley, and there was this kid. Well, I didn't know he was a kid. He looked like a Polish international then, but he was 16 years old. But he was a fully grown man, and I didn't really notice it too much. You could see that he was really confident, and then I think he went to Liverpool. Didn't Liverpool come in for him after that? And obviously he's had a decent career up to now. And he's still only 30, so it's just how it all works with the midfield that we've got. Really, it's how he's gonna, I know we don't know how long Yates is out for and all the rest of it, and I guess he's not as an athlete. He's obviously a better player on the ball, and he's not going to be. I don't think he's as athletic as Yatesy. So it's how he will fit into that midfield, where he slots into that. Whether you release Freuler goes further forward, and plays a bit deeper. I mean, I'm not quite sure how well he gets around the pitch, but we know, I know that he's got a good range of passing, and he's got a hammer of a shot, and he takes free kicks, and he's great at set pieces. So we've got another one of those, which is good. But maybe he was one of those ones that maybe he's one of them guys that they who was it? It was on a podcast, a Gary Baldy Red podcast, and they were talking about players. It was Fletcher talking about players that experienced pros at other clubs that were maybe looking for. They weren't getting so much game time. I know he's been injured and looking. And obviously there's a lot being said about Steve Cooper at the moment. His stock is going right up. And he might be one of the ones that was actually looking at us as being, and Cooper being a coach that could get a bit more out of him, as he moves into the twilight of his career. So, it's how he fits into our midfield and how we set up bringing him in. I mean, I know he's not fit for. He can't be far away. He might not be. I don't know what it is. He's obviously had his medical. He might not be match fit. He hasn't played a lot, has he? So it might be. I don't know. It might be 2 or 3 weeks before he actually comes in. I'm not sure.
Well, I've just seen on Twitter actually that Nottingham Forest have confirmed the lights are on at the City Ground. We actually had an early exclusive from Des, who told us that the lights were on at the City Ground. It's really, really exciting and good to see. But at the moment, I'm not thinking it's going to be Shelvey. He's obviously going to be announced anyway. Shelvey has probably already had his media bit done for him. But because the lights are on at the City Ground now, I'm thinking Felipe. It's going to be Felipe. Yeah. But it could also be Navas as well, because at the end of the day, we are told on a kind of delayed loop, if you wish. So maybe he's had his medical hours before we knew, flew over, and he's already here. You just don't know. But Shelvey at the moment is in Newcastle, so it can't be Shelvey that's at the City Ground right now. But it is indeed going to be Felipe. In fact, Felipe has now been pictured. He is the new Forest player. Benvindo to Felipe. He is a brand new Forest defender. Great to see him here. Mark, what do you make of that?
Well, look, it's an area that we've been struggling in since, we were all looking forward to seeing Niakate play at the start of the season. We've obviously had to juggle around the lads that played for us last season, as in Cook, McKenna, Worrell. We've obviously brought in Bolly, and he's done fantastic. He looked a bit dodgy in his first game. but it's an area that we desperately need to strengthen, don't we? Let's face it. And it, you know, as you know, I can vaguely remember him playing for Atletico Madrid because I'm a bit of a soft spot for him. I know they're not the nicest of teams to watch, but obviously Barcelona, Real Madrid have demon. You know, they're the top two teams, and it's always nice to see the top two teams get broken up a little bit. And Atletico done it for a little period, and obviously won the league. And I guess at that point, he was part of that. The Brazilian connection I like as well. You know, these new lads that we've just got, it beds them in. Obviously, Lodi knows him, and Lodi played next to him at Atletico Madrid.
Oh, I think Mark is always here.
Sorry, just had a call coming in there. So they know each other. So Lodi and Felipe know each other. That's got to be a bonus. And you know, they've done their due diligence. They're looking at these players. They're identifying. You know, let's face it, we're shopping in a different supermarket now. I mean, even from the start of the season, we had. You know, we brought in good championship players. I mean, you've been talking about O'Brien and that tonight. We brought in good Toffolo as well. You can just see we're stepping it up a little bit now. You know, we're in a good position. We're a bit more of an attractive a proposition now because obviously we're 13th, whereas we at one point we were bottom or second bottom. So you know, we're looking up, and I suppose you can only imagine behind the scenes a lot of good things being said about us. And, you know, it's given some of these players, you know, we know they're only going to be short term, but, you know, we need to stay up this season, don't we? You know, we need to stay up this season. We've got to do, you can see they're doing what they can to, you know, it's obviously what's available to you. We're not in the £100 million market like Chelsea, obviously, but it's what's available in our price bracket. And, you know, we have done some good business this season. So there's been the odd one or two that we all know about. But you're going to get that, aren't you? For the amount of players that we've signed, you're going to get the odd one or two, you know. And it is the most important thing. I mean, like, obviously, this cup game tomorrow night, we know that looks like that's dead in the water, obviously, from the last game. But, you know, even before that game, our main objective is to stay in this league. And I was looking beyond... I personally was looking beyond these two cup games at the Leeds game. The Leeds game is massive on Sunday. You know, even if we'd have had a positive result last week, the Leeds game is massive because we're at home against Leeds. There's a really good chance of us getting through all 3 points or getting a positive result. And it just gives us a bit of breathing space between what's at the bottom. The sooner we hit 30 points, the better. And, you know, we got a great chance of being 6 points off that comes Sunday evening, you know. So fingers crossed that is the case. And, you know, we can beat Leeds on Sunday and we can get them 6 points as quick as possible and get to that 30-point mark. I know we're still going to need a bit more, but the sooner we get to 30 points, you know, the better. And then it is looking really rosy for us staying in this league. So,
well, there's a lot of work to be done still by Nottingham Forest in this window. We're looking at Navas and we're looking at Angelo potentially, but Shelvey completed, not announced. But it's Sky Sports are saying for Felipe, who's just been announced. There's probably only 5 months left of his contract, as Glenn says, at Atletico. He signs until 2024, so a 1.5 year deal. And it's obviously 33, will be 34, 35 at the time. Yeah. Experienced centre back. But Mark, just before you go, what do you think that Felipe will bring to Nottingham Forest? And for what Brainclough is saying, 1.75 million. Good signing.
Well, yeah, like I say, for what I know of him, he's got to be. You know, he's played in some of the top games in Spain. You know, and like I say, he was part of that. He's probably part of that team that won the league. as well. He's obviously played in the Champions League many times with Atletico, and you know, he's obviously he's only played a couple of games, but he's played for Brazil as well. You know, he'll come in, and you know he'll add to that little Brazilian group they've got there. And I think you know, he's got the experience, and we just need desperately to strengthen that area up. It's critical and crucial. And if we get the goalkeeper as well, you know, I don't know what the forward thinking is of that. I mean, I know that he'd be on loan, I guess. You know, maybe Henderson's out a bit longer, or maybe we just got to cover that area, I guess. But you know, it could. Team could look different again. It's just how these guys bed in, isn't it? Because there's so much change all the time, but hopefully they settle straight in, you know. But I think he could be key, yeah, definitely. Well, for what I know of him, he could be key, you know. We just need to strengthen that area.
Well, that is true. Well, we'll have to wait and see in the coming hours. And do stick with us, Mark. It's been great to talk to you, and as always, we'll have to get you on again soon. Good catching up with you. It's been a while actually since we last spoke, hasn't it? So it's good to hear from you again.
You haven't done much for a while, have you? I did one of yours before, but you know, it's always good. It's always good. You know, you guys need support. You know, you need support. You give good content, and you know, it's great for the fans to listen to this, and you know, and to hear different opinions, because at the end of the day, we all have got slightly different opinions, and keep up the good work, mate.
Really appreciate it, my friend. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
No
Take care.
worries.
We'll catch up again soon. Do keep in contact.
Yeah.
And
that
was thank you, mate. And you.
See you later.
That was the amazing Mark. Take care now, Mark. And great to talk to him, obviously, about Dean Henderson's situation, the goalkeeper situation, and also the signing of Felipe. I'm currently tweeting and streaming. I'm trying to do a bit of everything at the moment, to be completely honest with you. It's called multitasking, everybody. It is called multitasking. You are listening to DoreOnTour. Make sure you get this video to 100 likes. 100 likes. Share this video as far as you can. Put it on Twitter. Tag me at I'm Jamie Martin. I'd really appreciate it if you can do that. It's really good. Now, one other reason, and Nick Hemphill mentions it really, and I wanted to talk about this, was that connection between Renan Lodi and Felipe, obviously working together in that kind of back four or back five, or I don't know what they play at Atletico nowadays, for Simeone. They've worked together well, a strong defensive unit, and building that chemistry. And Cooper's done that really well. And we all joke about the Brazilian side to it. It's a real thing. A lot of these players know each other. They've played together in the same teams, in the same league. They will have some sort of knowledge of another. And building that chemistry and team spirit is all part of Cooper's game. And he's doing a really fantastic bit of work for it. And players that he knows as well. Obviously, I'm not saying that he knows Felipe quite as well as he knew Sam Surridge in the last window. But he has very good reasoning for buying these players. And as I say, experienced. So, really exciting stuff. Now, Chris is here to talk to us about his thoughts. Chris, it's a big move by Forest signing Felipe. What do you make of it?
Yeah, we definitely need the players. Is he a defensive player, Felipe? Because I don't know much.
Yeah, he's a centre back. Yeah, he's centre back.
Yeah, we really need defenders really in the Forest team to stop leaking these goals. I know Steve Cook, he was good for the Championship, but he's not really good in the Premier League. So we need some places there. And JONJO SHELVEY, he'll be a good addition too to the Forest team.
Well, so JONJO SHELVEY then, let's talk about him. A player that most people know, and as it was mentioned earlier by Des, kind of a player that we kind of always enjoy to dislike. One of those kinds of players that really gets at you. But a Premier League experienced and tidy midfielder. How happy are you for him to join Forest?
Yeah, I'm happy. He's been playing for Newcastle for quite a few years now. And he's got the experience. I don't know if he scored any goals or anything. Defenders can score goals. But he looks really good. I enjoyed it because I used to be in Newcastle in the Alan Shearer days. But because it was too far, I joined Nottingham Forest in 2003. So I kind of kept my eye on Newcastle quite a bit. And yeah, he seemed like a good player.
Well, he's got a lot of work to do at Nottingham Forest. Obviously, we've still got half the season left to go, or just under, and a lot of work still to be done. A lot of injuries at the moment, so there's concerns there. But let's talk about kind of the final guy, Keylor Navas. He's not been announced yet by Nottingham Forest. Had his medical in Paris. We've not had really many further updates other than that. But as Fabrizio Romano says, sometimes silence is golden in the world of transfers. So, how happy would you be to see Keylor Navas join Nottingham Forest should it happen?
The problem with Navas, he hasn't had much game time. That's the reason he wants to leave PSG. He wants game time. But I had texted you earlier on Twitter. I said that once Henderson comes back, what's going to happen there? Will Forest put a goalkeeper with 3 European Cups on the bench just to let Henderson play again? Because that seems a bit unlikely if I was the manager. But like I said, all the 3 signings seem to be players that haven't played much for their teams. So they need to get match fit. And that's going to take at least 3 or 4 games probably to do that if they're on the side, playing for Steve Cooper.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if I agree 100% on the Navas bit, because I do think actually that regardless of his European trophies, Navas will know that he's going to be playing considerably less, given that Henderson is the first team goalkeeper. United wouldn't let him out on loan. I mean, I know that the situation isn't particularly brilliant between Henderson and Manchester United, but I doubt they'd let him on loan for him to not get game time. Of course, PSG may be the same, but perhaps just not a player that they necessarily need. It's a complicated situation, but we'll have to wait and see. We don't know how long Henderson's going to be out for. Could be 4 to 5 weeks, could be 6 weeks, could be 2 or 3 weeks. It's a really, really interesting one. But Chris, really appreciate you coming to talk to me about Forest, and do come on again soon. It's been a pleasure, and take care.
Cheers, and you. Bye.
Take care now. See you later. Remember, you can get your call-ins. You can do the call-in via the link in the chat. Click it. Join us. Have a chat. Mark's done it. Des has done it. Dora has done it. Chris has done it. There's 88 of you in now. If you can just join us, it would be great. Jaden, I hope you're doing well, my friend. It's good to see you in the chat. Who's the signing of the window? Someone asks in the chat. Ooh, I don't know if you can really say it yet. I mean, it's of this window, it's obviously probably Scarpa, because, well, Chris Wood is yet to play a full game and get into the squad properly and train a bit more, not just a day after he's signed. Danilo's looking solid, but as I say, it's probably Scarpa because he's just had the most game time. And he's done a lot. So really, really happy for him. And yeah, I think Scarpa's been brilliant. I would say definitely the sign of the window. But that being said, there hasn't been that many signings yet. If you asked me this question in the deadline day at the last window, could have had a bit more of a bigger chat then, perhaps. But yeah, if Navas does sign though, that's going to be an unreal signing. Do we know how much Felipe was? I think there was some mention of around the €2 million mark. I think it was. So not a bad signing, really, not a bad deal at all. There's definitely players that have been around the same age that people have paid more for without the amount of experience that Felipe possesses. So I'm pretty happy with that deal. Our window, Scarpinha, of course. I'm going to have to start learning Portuguese. It's brilliant. I know that Steve Cooper's learning Portuguese, so it's great. Sean Butler says, bargain, Felipe. Nice to see it's not paying over the odds. Will be good influence even in training. I'd imagine a relationship with Lodi, of course. Just helps, doesn't it? It's a massive benefit. Players knowing each other, that kind of leadership mentality that him and Bolly possess. It's just really good to have that. Yeah, it's good to see that happening. So according to Brian Clough, Angelo has passed his medical, but the deal is still up in the air. So he did have a medical earlier in Brazil. Also, Tom Colomos says, journalist. But that being said, it's looking like that Santos might be preventing this deal. Player wants to move to the Premier League. Player wants to move to Nottingham Forest. He's got Brazilian counterparts there. So we're going to have to wait and see now. There's a lot that could happen. And as I say, we're going to be here with you until the very end of the transfer window, which comes in 59 minutes. We are counting down the minutes now. 59 minutes to go until Nottingham Forest have no more opportunities to sign a player in this Premier League campaign. It's exciting, but it is nerve-wracking at the same time. Remember, you can call us in at the using the link in the chat. Home Navas is true, doesn't create tension with Henderson. Full competition, especially with keeper, not always good. Yeah, it's not easy, especially given Henderson's work rate this season. Most clean sheets outside the top 4. Undeniably a brilliant goalkeeper. Obviously, there's been questions over his distribution. I've definitely asked questions over his distribution, but he's improving. I think his all-round game is improving much more, and his attitude seems to be impeccable. So I can't complain. I hope we do keep Henderson, and I hope that this is only a positive step for him and that Keylor Navas offers that kind of mentoring and like nurturing aspect to help him improve as a goalkeeper, as well as getting some game time for himself as well. So yeah, and I know Nick, I know you really appreciated that video of Scarpa and Lodi. I mean, it was fantastic, wasn't it? I just love how like they're just so respectful of each other. There's no like kind of ego in it. They're just so respectful. They don't want to say it's them, or I just really like them both. They're just so innocent, and it's just, yeah, it's amazing. Really, really like them. Adam Redo 1 says, hi Jamie, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. If you're just tuning in, remember to click the like button, subscribe. Let's get 100 people in this stream. You can just share it. It would be really, really helpful. I know that other people are streaming at the moment and there's so much going on. I'm kind of monitoring my phone for Twitter and also the stream because I left my tablet at home, which doesn't help because I wanted to have my tablet kind of to my side so I can do both. But I've left it, in fact, at my workplace. So that doesn't help, does it? Make sure you get your questions in, though. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have about transfers, about my thoughts on transfers, anything you have. You can either call us in using the link that I mentioned before, or you can just text in the chat. And as I say, get your questions in. It'd be great to talk to you. This is the big transfer deadline day show. You're listening to DoreOnTour. Now, let's have a look. Most important signing this window, Ryan Yates. Well, I don't know if that was this window. Was it? Was it this window? I don't think it was when he signed a contract, I think. But arguably, Ryan Yates, bless him. I don't know the situation with Ryan Yates at the moment. I'm hoping that he'll be back in a week or so. We'll have to wait and see. Newcastle are in the final of the Carabao Cup. Congratulations, Newcastle. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I don't know if Dore's going to pull me off stream for saying this. I just want to congratulate Newcastle because I thought that their fan base was really welcoming when Forest went there at the first time in 23 years. When we had that Premier League campaign start at St James's Park, I thought they were really welcoming, really kind to us on Twitter. I know there's the odd one that kind of ruins it, but I thought in general, the Geordies were a really great bunch of people that welcome Forest fans really, really nicely. And not just that, but they've also been through a tough time. And this time last year, they were also bottom of their respective division, the Premier League at the time. And now look how far they've come. So just keep the faith, people. And congratulations to Newcastle on getting to that final. I have absolutely no doubt that you'll have a very good chance of winning this trophy. I mean, what a story that would be. An English manager, Eddie Howe, bringing the trophy back. But more excitingly, though, it would be nice if Forest made a comeback and we went and challenged them for that trophy. But that being said, chances, it's going to be slim. It's going to be slim chances tomorrow. I'll be going to the Old Trafford to go and commentate on the game. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Brainclough believes that Wood, JONJO, Felipe, Scarpa, and Danilo will all start. Interesting. Who knows? I think we'll have to be careful with Scarpa, given Morgan Gibbs-White's injured. Once the window's shut, what would be your starting 11? Oh, you mean going forward? Okay, fair enough. My starting 11 once the window's shut, providing we signed Navas. Obviously, we've got Shelvey, unannounced. My starting 11 would be Navas in goal, providing that Omar Richardson and Nia Cartier are still injured, by the way. Yeah, so Navas in goal, but I'm gonna propose the idea of a 4-2-3-1. Or is that bad for me to do that? I don't know if I should. I'll say my piece. I'll say my piece. So with all injuries taken into account, I won't go to 4-2-3-1. Navas in goal, Lodi left back, centre backs, Felipe and well, I don't know if Bolly's really fit. If he is, great, but we'll say Worrell for now. Right back, Serge Aurier without a doubt. In the midfield, Danilo, Freuler, and Scarpa. This is where it's tough because actually I would put Scarpa on the left really instead. But it's really difficult now. It's really in fact, no, we'll go Shelvey. No, so Shelvey, Freuler, and Danilo in the midfield, Scarpa on the left. I'm going to go Sam Surridge up front and Brennan Johnson on the right. I know that I'm going to get called out for the Chris Wood thing, but I just want to see Surridge get some time as well. And then maybe bring Chris Wood on. Or in fact, alternatively, you could do it either way. You could have Chris Wood start and then bring Surridge on. That'd be quite interesting. But we'll see. Kieran Morley doesn't believe Man United will play first team tomorrow. Neither do I. They've got to think about injuries as well. They've just lost Christian Eriksen out for a month. So that's going to be tough. Jesse Lingard, not for me. I don't know. I mean, maybe giving him a chance. I think he wouldn't be in my starting 11, the next couple of games. I think bring him on after the 60th, see what impact he makes, then maybe give him a start would be my way of doing it. To be honest, that's what I would do. But yeah, not at the moment. You hope Freuler doesn't play again. I mean, he does a lot of work, I think, off the ball that's quite important. But that being said, there is question marks over him. I understand that completely. But it's whether you're going to play Mangala, who are you going to replace him with? Unless you put Scarpa, Danilo, and Shelvey in the midfield and had Jesse on the left. Interesting. Navas is likely to start soon as Henderson is out till mid to late Feb at earliest, of course. Mangala is better than Freuler. Different kind of thing, different roles though, I guess, in a way, different midfielders, really. But look, we've got so much choice now in some aspects. But yeah, I don't like doing these starting 11 things because my mind just goes to mush when thinking about it. JONJO is an upgrade on Freuler, I think. I mean, Freuler's got, other than the time he's been at Forest, he hasn't got any prior Premier League experience. So Shelvey will have that on him. And he obviously, he knows Steve Cooper from his time at Liverpool. So there's going to be some chemistry there. Sancho and Martial to start tomorrow for United, absolutely. I know that Sancho's back from his personal, I don't know what they call it, like personal recovery or personal training scheme, because he was struggling a bit with his confidence. So going out and training himself, I don't know if he was in Dubai or wherever it was, and getting himself ready again to play football professionally for Manchester United. So yeah, no doubt Sancho will start tomorrow, and he'll be making it difficult for our defence for sure. And he's going to be hungry to get back into that Man United squad and maybe take Anthony's position if possible, because I don't think Anthony's been performing particularly amazingly, but we'll wait and see. Shelvey is definitely better and stronger than Freuler for sure. As I say, prior experience in the Prem just makes him that much more attractive in the midfield to have. Andre Ayew could sign for Forest on a free. No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he's been ruled out of a move to Everton as well, so I don't believe that will happen. But remember, with Andre Ayew, we're not bound by the powers that be deadline day. As we saw with Serge Aurier, they can sign after the window if he's a free agent. Serge Aurier was, and in this case, Andre Ayew is. So if he's a free agent, it's a little bit different. We've got someone calling in, the mighty Mr. Smith. That will be coming in a second, so just bear with me, Callum. But Freuler, criminally underrated, more tackles per game and interceptions per game than Yates. He's, but as I said though, I do think that Shelvey would be the better option. But Freuler's the amount of running that he does, and as you say, the amount of tackles that he makes is important. But maybe he's just being played out of position, I'm thinking. It's a really tough one with Freuler. I know that it's a bit Marmite. Some people love him, some people don't. But maybe Shelvey's going to be here to answer all your questions in some way. Would you have Andre Ayew at Nottingham Forest? Yes or no? I want to see it in the chat. Thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you want to do. Do you believe that Andre Ayew will come to Nottingham Forest? I know that he's worked under Steve Cooper before, but let's get Callum on to talk a little bit about his thoughts now. Callum is an absolute troublemaker. No, I'm only kidding you. Callum, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm all right, mate. How are you doing?
I'm all good. So 2 signings, one of them unannounced, Shelvey, and the other, Felipe, who's been announced. I know you're very excited by that. What do you make of these signings, and how important is it going forward for Nottingham Forest to have signed these players?
I think Felipe is a very good centre-back because he's very experienced. I think he'll bring solidarity to the back line. I think he's a solid player, though, because with all our injuries as well, and I think he goes into that team, that back four, in my opinion. And JONJO Shelvey, I think, is a very underrated player. I really think he's an underrated player.
So what would you say to fans that are perhaps questioning not only his injury record, but also his ability? Because there's some people questioning whether we needed someone better than that. But do you think that JONJO Shelvey was kind of just the right player for Nottingham Forest in this window?
Honestly, I think he is. I think he's a player who can do a lot more than a lot of our fans think. I think when he plays, our fans going to realise how good he really is. Like, injuries let him down a lot during his career. And obviously that is a risk that he might get injured. But hopefully if he stays fit, I think he'll become a very important player by the end of the season. Okay,
Callum, I'm going to bring you 2 points now. I'm going to talk... in fact, I'm going to bring you 3. I'm going to bring you 3.
All right.
Andre Ayew, yes or no?
No.
Remo Freuler, yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
I think Remo is a very good player. Whenever I see him play, obviously he's had his bad games, but who doesn't? I think Remo is a solid player. He can pass the ball. He can make things happen. He's defensively decent. Of course, there's things he can improve on, but I think he's all right. I don't think he's a bad player at all, but I would like to see him play more, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, Felipe then, Mark Stewart, who is... Well, it's he likes a laugh, obviously, this Mark Stewart guy does. He says we've signed the Brazilian Steve Cook. But I think Steve Cook is still a very good player. I know that people cast shade on him all the time, say he's not good enough, etc. I think Steve Cook plays an important part in Nottingham Forest, even now, mentoring the younger guys. But I still think there's a role for him somewhere. What do you make of that comment then? I mean, he says he's really slow. What do you make of Felipe as a player?
I don't think it obviously pace kind of does matter in a way, but it's not all about pace sometimes. If his defending is good, that's what matters really. Like Cook for us last season, he came in not quick as players, but did a solid job. If he has a body next to him, a Waza, McKenna maybe, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be perfect for us, in my opinion.
So this is really controversial now. Is Freuler top class, yes or no? What do you think, guys? Is Freuler starting for you, or is he not? It's a really, really interesting one, because if you do look at the stats, Freuler does look like quite a good player. Covers a lot of distance. I think the most distance out of any Forest player per game. And I say he gives 110% every week. But that being said, has had a couple of bad games, maybe being played out of position. It's really tough. So last question I'm going to ask you then. Keylor Navas, a couple of weeks ago, it kind of came out of the blue. Nottingham Forest are interested in Keylor Navas. It was kind of being leaked by L'Equipe a little bit over in France. Now it seems a reality that he could join Nottingham Forest. What do you have to make of it? It's a real possibility. I
think it could be a very good signing. Obviously, Dino's out injured, which is not great, but you're bringing in a 3-time Champions League winner, a goalkeeper who's done at the highest level for God knows how many years. He's a very good goalkeeper. We all should know that, and I think he'll be a quality addition to our team.
So, a big signing by Steve Cooper, Nottingham Forest. Could you have ever imagined it a year ago?
Nope. It's crazy to think that we're bringing in Keylor, Navas and all these other players when we was in the Championship, bottom of the league at one point. It's mental.
Well, it's official. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed. Here we go. Keylor Navas to Nottingham Forest is happening. There's been no announcement by Nottingham Forest, but we can confirm that he accepted Forest's proposal days ago on a personal basis. It is now signed, sealed, and delivered. Documents are signed, ready to go, and he has completed boarding to Nottingham. He is on his way to East Midlands Airport. He is coming to Nottingham Forest. Keylor Navas will be a Nottingham Forest player in the coming hours. Exciting times for Forest fans. And we've just had Callum Smith's live reaction there. So, Callum, thank you for joining me. I'm sure we'll be catching up very soon at some point, probably in the car on a long journey somewhere, somewhere nasty, probably. Yeah, hopefully it's a bit more enjoyable than that trip to... we'll see you soon.
All right, see you later, mate.
Well, my Wi-Fi briefly broke up for a moment there, but I'm back. Now, Keylor Navas. He's coming to Nottingham Forest. Isn't that exciting? Wow. Just to think we're even linked with a player like that is amazing. Thank you to Callum as well for coming on. Fabrizio Romano has just confirmed that the British transfer record has been broken. Enzo Fernandez has gone to Chelsea. He signs, I think it's around £105 million plus add-ons. The British transfer record has officially been broken, and Chelsea are the record holders for that. That being said, I think there's still only 5 or so points away from Nottingham Forest, so that is completely irrelevant at this point in time. They've spent nearly £500 million, to be fair. Not by Sky. I just want to clear this up. I love Sky. And everybody that's on it tonight, Michael Dawson, we're feeding him news. I'm sure he's watching this stream closely. But not everything has to be on Sky Sports for it to be confirmed. They do have a report outside the training ground, but that's not going to help if Navas isn't even in the country yet. So just do bear with. He's not in the country yet. Mark Stewart, he doesn't like Felipe, but he likes Navas. We've cracked it. Malk, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you indeed. Navas signed, sealed. Interesting. And just like Stevie Wonder, signed, sealed, delivered. And Navas is yours. He's there. He's ready. Nottingham Forest have got a 3 times Champions League winning goalkeeper on their hands. How exciting is this? I genuinely can't believe it. Now, speaking from, as Dor would say, a journo perspective, I'm going to tell you that this is a very financially lucrative deal. I think that there's going to be profitable. There's going to be a lot of marketing stuff going on, as I've mentioned before. I don't know how much about shirt sales there's going to be, but there's going to be a lot of good things that come from this deal. PSG are going to be paying a good proportion of his salary, and more importantly, you've got that experience in the squad ready to play for Nottingham Forest. So it's just big. It's exposure for Forest. I can imagine their social media accounts are going to grow exponentially. It's a massive, massive, massive breakthrough for them. From a fan perspective, it's unreal. It's surreal to think that, watching... We've had some great goalkeepers at the City Ground, by the way. Not on the likes of Navas in terms of their popularity, but Samba will become one of those goalkeepers that is up there. It will be a goalkeeper that will go far. Dean Henderson, another great goalkeeper. But we've also had some tough ones over the years. I mean, I always liked Doris de Vries, so I liked him a lot. There's been Muric and the others, and there's been some blunders over the years. And now we've got this, yeah, it's amazing. Fitness course or not, it still doesn't save you from injuries, you clown. Well, I don't know what's going on at the moment. I don't know if that's aimed at me or what. But it's, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it doesn't save you from injuries, that's right. But it allows you to have a backup for those injuries, I suppose. An odd statement to make. Are we getting Brazilian striker? It doesn't look like Nottingham Forest are going to sign Angelo in this window. Reports from Tom Colomos said that the medical had been done. But contrary to that, other reports coming out now saying that a deal can't be reached with Santos. And it is looking like that deal is now off and will not happen. So it's unfortunate for Nottingham Forest, to be completely honest, that they won't be signing Angelo Gabriel. But that being said, there is always that chance in the summer. And I would suspect that if Nottingham Forest do stay in the Premier League, as was the conditions of the loan proposed, then they will pay £18 million for Santos forward Angelo Gabriel in the summer instead and buy him then. So is Brenner dead in the water? I mean, according to Tom Bogert, not necessarily, but I would say probably. To be completely honest, I would say that there's a very, very unlikely chance that Forest will sign Brenner in this window. We've got another 40 minutes until the window closes. I would say it is very, very unlikely. Any outgoings? I believe that Lewis O'Brien should be joining Blackburn. I don't know how far down the line that's got. There was a medical earlier, and it's looking like he's passed. So we'll wait and see. Much appreciated, my friend. Yeah, don't mind. Cheers for the engagement. Notts County beat Solihull Moors tonight 2-1, top of the National League. Wow. Interesting stuff. Well, until they meet Paul Mullin. I'm not going to say my piece because I want to show respect to Notts County. Fair play to them. Doing really well under the management of Luke Williams. And I think that Luke Williams has probably had a bit more backing than Ian Birchnell did as manager of Notts. But that being said, it's just good to see them doing well. And they've got a really tough competitor in terms of Wrexham. And they're not going to get anywhere near as much national coverage if they do win the league this year, despite beating Wrexham at home earlier on in the season. Sean Butler, controversial. Oh, it is controversial. Not feeling the Scarpa hype. Looks too lightweight for Premiership for me. Time will tell, and obviously I hope I'm wrong. More than entitled to your opinion. So, I mean, fair enough for going out there and saying it. I am going to disagree, but I'm not going to have a go at you for having your opinion because that's what you're here for. For me, Scarpa has not quite. I don't know how to say this. He's living up to a hype. He's doing well, but in terms of like the kind of hype that we've expected, I mean, it's unfair to say if he's lived up to it yet because it's not the end of the season, or he's not had a full season yet, Forest. So I would say he's doing really well. He's living up to the hype so far. He's made some really great passes. He's having those chances. He's getting ready and used to Premier League football. It's tough to adapt, especially when you've come from Brazil, completely different league and country in terms of football. So, yeah, you do have to give him time. But I think Scarpa's been doing amazing already. So, yeah, I'm going to disagree on that one. I think Scarpa's been doing great. As Alex says, yeah, give him some time. Glenn, incredible job tonight, Jay. Really appreciate it. Who's your signing of the window for Forest? I'm going to go for Shelvey. I'm going to put it down for Shelvey because, look, as I know something that Dave Asprey said to me, the amazing Dave Asprey said to me on many occasions about football players with names like JONJO Shelvey. It's just not an attractive name. He's not an attractive personality, a really good-looking bloke, or, he's not like one of these kind of flash guys that's on social media. He's kind of a bit more low down, doesn't really say a lot often. You don't really hear a lot about him, and he just gets on with it. And that's why I think to some people he's not as appealing. Because people do have that kind of unconscious bias towards a player that's a bit out there, towards a player that dresses a certain way or has a certain name, because if you're going to tell me, if I said to you two names who you'd rather sign, and let's say I said Danilo or Shelvey, and you didn't even know any of these players existed, you didn't know them, and you just said, based off the name, who would you sign? You'd probably say Danilo. It's a weird an unconscious bias, like a subconscious bias, that you have towards a player based on names or just anything. And I think that Shelvey, is going to do really well at Forest. I think he's going to succeed. And yeah, he's not got the most attractive name, the most attractive style of football, the most anything, but he just gets the job done, and he will do what we need him to do. Cooper knows him, which means that he has that mutual trust. And he knows how to manage JONJO. So I'm excited for this. I think that for me, Glenn, Shelvey will be the signing of the window. But Felipe is obviously, and Navas as well, obviously going to be really important. Felipe just having that link up with Lodi, and then Navas being the amazing goalkeeper that he is anyway. I've been dying to see Navas at Nottingham Forest since the start of January. And genuinely, I can get people to verify this. I've been begging for Forest to make a bid. And they have in a way. So Excited. Christopher Lowe, oh, thank you for your donation, my friend. Really appreciate it. And honestly, anybody that's donated super chats, really, really appreciate it. I know that Dore will have, it means a lot to him. So thank you so much, Chris. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, means a lot to us. So let's have a look. Max says here, do you think that we haven't done the business we needed this January? In my opinion, we didn't need Shelvey. Navas is good and Felipe is too old, and we do need a centre half, but he was just too old. I can see your reasoning, Max. To be honest, I can understand why he's saying it. We've signed older guys. I mean, we haven't signed a player under the Scarpa is, I think he's 30 now, isn't he? 29 or 30, 29. So other than Scarpa, we've not signed, and Danilo. The rest of the guys have been over 30. Wood, Felipe, Navas now, Shelvey. So you've got 4 players there over the age of 30. It's really difficult because I understand what you're saying. That being said, I think, well, with Ryan Yates, we don't know how long he's going to be out for. Kuyate out, Lewis O'Brien going on loan. You do need that other midfielder, 100%. So I think he's injecting that right amount of experience in regard to that. So when it comes to Navas, yeah, I agree with you. I think he's good. Felipe, I would say he's old in regard to the kind of footballing standard of what age and old is in football. But I think it's that, again, that injection of experience and that kind of leadership that we need, the kind of ability to rule a defence and put yourself out there a little bit and make those tackles when you need to. Be a bit more ruthless and a bit more fearless. That's what we need. And someone who's got experience against some of the top forwards in the world. You know, some of these bests, the best players in the world have played in the Spanish division, and he's played against them. So to some extent, I do agree with what you said. But yeah, I think they're good signings. I think they'll be quite good. Shelvey's Premier League standard and part of a squad that's great. It's a low-cost, high-reward deal for us. Absolutely, spot on. It is low cost. We know that he's going to be on more wages. I've heard that he's only going to be getting a £5,000 to £10,000 pay rise, if that. Don't shoot the messenger. This is just what I'm hearing, but we'll see. Sean Butler looks good in sporadic spells. Needs more than that. Shooting weak so far, but I want him to be wrong. Believe me. Who would you pick as your 2 centre backs with Felipe signed? Probably Felipe and Bolly or Worrell. But when Niakarte's back, I would tout the idea of either Bolly and Niakarte or Felipe and Niakarte, Felipe and Bolly, or the vice versa. So much to choose from now. But we have got so many defenders, and Steve Cook isn't leaving. By the way, he's not going to Stoke or Blackburn or any other club that was after him. Steve Cook is staying put. Is Thiago at Chelsea too old for the Prem? Correct. Yep, he's been fantastic and in many respects saved Chelsea. And he doesn't often get enough credit for that. I don't really rate Keylor either on that point. I think he was a waste of 40 million, to be honest. Good, I'm sure he was all right in Italy, but he just has not adapted. He just hasn't adapted at all here. Remember, priority this season is to stay up. These older players could do a job for the next year, just until. Exactly. And as I said, I don't really believe this is a long-term investment with a lot of these players. I do believe that it is it's a necessary one. We did need that experience. We needed players that can cover in the short term, maybe a year or 2 years. So it's a good deal. It is a good deal for us getting these players in. So yeah, I think he's good. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Do you think we should have offloaded some more people in this window? Perhaps. I mean, you've already got rid of Mbaye, so Lewis O'Brien's going to go. Toffolo couldn't go because of the Omar Richards injury setback. Look, I think there's probably a couple more that we could have got rid of. Taylor and Cafu going would have been good for them, I think. But their contracts expire in the summer anyway. So they're not going to be included in 25-man squad. Everybody knows that. They'll probably just see out their contracts and leave in due course. Honestly, Felipe will be unreal. JONJO is the most underrated player ever. He's so technically gifted. He's a quality player. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to get carried away with anything particularly, but I do believe he is a very good player. Indeed underrated. And it's not very often you see a player like him that just gets under, just gets on with it, doesn't say a lot, and just has that good vision. And as I say, the long balls that he can do. Danilo with the short passing, as Mark briefly mentioned earlier. And yeah, a great shot on him. So exciting. In your opinion, with all injuries not in the thought process and not in place as such, who would be your starting 11 if everyone was fit? Oh, starting 11 again. Navas, Lodi, Felipe. Oh, no. With all injuries not in the thought process. Oh, well, I've got to pick Henderson because he's got the most game time with us. Henderson, Lodi, Felipe. If I know Bolly and Niakate, because I haven't seen Felipe yet. Right back, Serge Aurier. In the midfield, I'm going to go for... I'm going to go for Ryan Yates, Danilo and Scarpa. And then I'm going to put Morgan Gibbs-White on the left, Sam Surridge up front, and then Brennan Johnson on the right. I think is what I'm going to go for. Or maybe, Owoniyi up front, sorry. I completely forgot. Yeah, Owoniyi. Hopefully he's going to be back in the next month or so. It's really difficult with him. It was obviously muscle fatigue, and then it's evolved into something more. So, yeah, I really like Taiwo, and he was just getting into his element as well. And then he gets injured, bless him. Any news on our new stand? Nothing new. I know that there was permission granted in the summer for it, but I don't know whether the financing of it depends on staying in the Premier League or what. I can imagine that will have a big impact on it. But we'll have to wait and see. And obviously, there's a lot of other financial aspects we've got to think about as well. Buying Lodi at the end. Do we want to buy Lodi £20 million, or do we not want to buy Lodi at the end of the season? We'll have to see. We need to get a player that can snarl at the back, capable of putting Haaland in row 5. Well, I wish that there's not many players that could do that, Malk. I think maybe you back in your day would have, or maybe even now, Malk, and I know you, could probably put Haaland back in row 5. But we'll see. Brainclough says he wished we'd sold Taiwo. Wow, that's a shock. I thought, well, I mean, he's still one of the top scorers of the club, isn't he? And he's injured. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's a bit harsh, to be honest. Derek doesn't think that Owoniyi will make the grade long term. Interesting. Redevelopment could start in summer. Yes, that's what it's looking like mostly. So, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for anyway. I don't know where I'm going to sit because I'm sitting in Peter Taylor. So, but yeah, I guess I'm going to be moved into Brian Clough. So I might see some of you there. Another Brazilian, absolutely. It's good, and I like that. Nottingham Rainforest. I think that's really nice. I think that's funny. I think I said Amazon. I just said Amazon Forest now. The last one, I like that a lot. Yeah, Nottingham Rainforest. That's our new name. Now that we've signed so many Brazilians, we've got another South American, I suppose, with Navas. But with the Brazilians, we've got Felipe, Lodi, Scarpa, and Danilo. Exciting stuff. If you had told me we would have had four Brazilians playing for Nottingham Forest this time last year, I would have said, you are out of your mind. Out of your mind. But here we are. Now, we have only, I think it'll be 25 minutes left of the deadline. Make sure you share this stream wherever you are sharing it to. Groups, anything you can do, share it there because we are here. Transfer deadline day. Here on DoreOnTour, make sure that you subscribe, like, and comment, and also click the link in the comments. It'd be great to talk to some of you before we go, because we will be leaving shortly after 11. So please do, if you can, click that button and join us. Have a little chat and ask some questions as well, and I'll be asking you some questions as well. You can do that literally just by clicking the link in the comments. Gavin says, I think Henderson is out for much longer than we think. Can't see him or Navas being happy on the bench. Well, it's going to be a tough situation, probably a difficult one to manage. But if I was going to have to choose a difficult situation like two very competitive goalkeepers going against each other, if I had to pick someone to manage them, Steve Cooper without a doubt. My teams going down are Everton, Southampton, and Bournemouth. What's yours, Jay? I'm going to be honest. I think Bournemouth are going to do, mid-table stuff. I think they're going to come back and do really well. Because, look, at the end of the day, they've signed Zabarnyi, I think, today. and they've signed some other great players in the last couple of days. Bournemouth have been doing some really good business, albeit expensive. They spent 20 million on Zabarnyi from Shakhtar Donetsk. But yeah, I don't know. For me, I think I can agree with Southampton and Everton. But to go down, it's really tough. I think West Ham. I think West Ham could fall down the pecking order, to be honest. I think they could potentially. Do we think we should have gone in for a couple of players out of loan players from the squad last season? Spence, Garner, Keenan. No, I think I like Spence a lot. Perhaps before we got Aurier, maybe we should have looked at it when we were playing that five at the back. But nah, look, I like Garner. James Garner, I love. I think he's brilliant. He's going to do really well. Same sort of stats as Lewis O'Brien last season, but Man United were wanting like 15 million, or that was the kind of price being looked at, and he's not really done a lot at Everton. So for me, no. Keenan, again, doing good for Watford, I'm sure, but I don't think he would have done so much in the Prem based on his injuries. He's just not there, and we need someone who's reliable to no fault of his own. But yeah, no, none of those guys I would have brought back for me. Jay could stand outside and watch with those legs. It's true. I am taller than the City ground, so maybe I actually could go and stand outside the City ground and just watch from there. Let's have a look. Yeah, waves to the Forest fans watching. Yeah, that's true. It's just what I do. Let's have a look. Join in in chat with Jay. The link is at the top, guys. Literally click that link and you'll be transported into the lobby. You'll be able to get your talk shown on this stream. It's not quite like Talk Sport. We're a bit more kind than Jason Cundy might be when he's doing that ridiculous thing that he did the other day. So Navas is going to be announced any minute now, and we're going to break you the news. He's on his way to Nottingham. This is so exciting. I'm sorry, this is really exciting. I love bringing you transfer news. So this is really, as much as it's exciting for you guys, I absolutely love bringing you this news. Keylor Navas. I can't believe that he's signing for Forest. Genuine. It's the most unreal feeling to have someone like Keylor Navas come and join Forest, and just to think how far we've come as a club, and and then JONJO as well. Unreal, absolutely unreal, incredible, just wow. Yeah, wow. Keylor Navas is coming to Nottingham Forest. Navas or Hendo? Don't make me pick that. Do I really have to pick that? I mean, guys, who would you have? Navas or Henderson? Navas or Henderson? Tell me. Well, wow. Well, I'm kind of I'm typing out a tweet as well as streaming right now. This is difficult. It's a loan deal. May I just point out there is the video for Felipe signing. So make sure you go and check that out on the Forest Twitter page or YouTube channel. So yeah, great stuff. But yeah, this is really exciting. But who would you have? Dean Henderson or Keylor Navas starting? For me, I would have to be Dean Henderson, just because he's got more experience in the Prem, and he's obviously first team goalkeeper for Nottingham Forest. So it'd be tough to kind of chuck him out at this time. But yeah, it's amazing. Wow. Just to think, as I say on this Twitter post, who would have thought this time last year that Nottingham Forest would have a multiple Champions League winning goalkeeper signing for Nottingham Forest? Who would have thought that? Who would have thought it? Crazy. Henderson will sign. Do you think Henderson will sign on a permanent deal? That's an interesting question. Obviously, with bringing Navas in, would Forest want Henderson back in the summer? I think they would, but who knows? Henderson has given us a few points, absolutely. I mean, his performance at Liverpool was outstanding. Of course, Wolves, without a doubt, was amazing as well in the Cup. And guys, get involved. I'm looking to talk to a couple of you right now. We've got the last 20 minutes of the stream. I want to talk to at least 2 or 3 people before the stream is over. Click the link in the comments. Let's get talking. Let's have a conversation about these transfer signings that we're making. And yeah, let's have a quick chat about it. Let's do it. It'd be really, really exciting. Felipe's reaction to the City ground is class. Not seen it yet. Depends on how he plays. Absolutely. Navas is yet to play a game for Forest. Bear in mind, walk into the City ground. So let's just give him some time. Let's give him some time. But Keylor Navas. Wow. Felipe, Keylor Navas, Chris Wood, Scarpa, Danilo, and I say JONJO Shelvey. Nottingham Forest have had, I would say, what is going to be a successful window. Signings that are going to pay off. And yeah, they are statement signings. It's a sign. Forest are ambitious. Forest want more from this league. And they know it's going to be really difficult to get that. No denying. You've got teams like around you, like Bournemouth, that are investing. Everton tried to get Conor Gallagher, failed. They've tried a couple of people, but failed. You know, but they've now got Sean Dyche, a very good tactical manager that is known for keeping those teams up and prospering. So, look, it's it's going to be difficult. And yes, we haven't spent 25 million in this window. In this window, we've probably spent, I don't know how much Shelvey was. It'll probably be a few million. But with Felipe, Danilo, we spent, I think, just under 20 million. And then Felipe was about 2 million. So let's say it was around 25 million for all the players we've got. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. I think that's some really good transfer business. You're thinking you've got Scarpa, Danilo, Chris Wood, Navas, JONJO Shelvey, Felipe, all of those players for about 25 million. I know some of them are loans as well, so that's obviously taken into account. But good signings. Good signings. Manchester won't let him go. I think United will let Henderson go, to be honest. I think De Gea will sign a big new deal with them. And then, Henderson's made his thoughts clear when it comes to Manchester United. Unless they were to say to him, look, we're going to give you first team game time right now. And there's like a clause that says if they don't, that he gets £20 million, I don't know, then maybe he'd stay. But as Swansea Boulevard says, I think Dean Henderson's burnt that bridge with United now. I think it's done. Ten Hag is not a manager that will put up with things like that. And I wouldn't say it's disrespect, because I know that there's been a bit of a controversial. It's controversial. There's been a different situation with Dean Henderson and Manchester United. Obviously, they've disagreed on a lot of things. And that bridge has most likely been burnt. And maybe Ten Hag's not going to like that. So, yeah, we'll see. Manchester United were going to take Henderson back, but changed minds. Well, yeah, I mean, they've gone and got a keeper in. They know why they don't want him back. And arguably Dean Henderson is way better than the keeper than Jack Butland. I like Jack Butland, but Dean Henderson is miles ahead of him. United have chosen to leave the better keeper and bring in someone that's not as good as him. That says a lot for me. I'm going to come back soon, just watching the Sky Sports News thing. Completely understand, guys. If you are watching Sky Sports News, I appreciate that. Thank you to all those that has stuck with me since the start of this stream. It's been a long stream. We've got another 15 minutes till the window closes. 15 minutes to go. And, oh my goodness, 15 minutes to go. 15 minutes. How exciting is this? Wow. This is exciting. This is exciting. 15 minutes till the window closes. As I say, I'm currently typing it into a banner. So we'll wait and see. If anything else happens in the coming 15 minutes now. 15 minutes to the window closes, as I say. Nottingham Forest going to sign Keylor Navas. And yeah, they're going to solidify their place in the Premier League, they hope. But we'll see. January, free £60 million loan to... I don't know who is this in regard to. I'm not 100% who this is in regard to. What's everybody expecting from tomorrow's game? Yeah, let's talk about tomorrow's game. Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest over at Old Trafford. Manchester United 3 goals up. I don't think they're going to put out a first team of sorts, but the likes of Anthony Martial, I can imagine Facundo Pellistri, Jadon Sancho, and others are going to be playing. So good players are going to be starting for Manchester United tomorrow night, undoubtedly. But that being said, not a first team. I can't see Casemiro playing. But what do you think ahead of that game? Do you think Forest could pull it back? What are your thoughts on that? I think it's very unlikely. But it would be nice to see if the fans would give the boys a standing ovation at the end of it. They've had a long run. And yes, there was a disappointing couple of goals conceded in that first leg, few goals. Goals that shouldn't have been conceded in the way they were. Maybe unlucky with the offside calling. But that being said, they've come to the first semi-final since 1992. First semi-final since 1992. And in that year, we got to the finals and lost against Manchester United, if I'm not mistaken, 1-0. So we've come a long way. And I think sometimes in the fan base, we can be a bit ungrateful. Yes, I understand. It is unfortunate that we are 3-0 down to Manchester United. And don't forget, there is still a chance. There is still a chance that we could come back. Unlikely. But look how far we've come. Look at the challenges that Forest have overcome in this last year and a half, year and a bit. You know, look at the players that have come and gone. Look how much change we've seen at the club, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. Dane Murphy's left. The recruitment team have left. You know, we've had so many ins and outs in this football club. Some of them we won't have even heard of. Lots of things going on behind the scenes. A lot has changed at Nottingham Forest, and a lot continues to change. But they've got to that semi-final. They've got to the Premier League. I mean, things that we just 2 years ago, if you told us, we would have said that is not even ever possible. And it's happened. You've got to live for now, and you've got to enjoy it and be grateful for having this. There's a lot of teams that won't see this again. You know, there's a lot of teams that would love to see this. You know, even our counterparts over the Trent, Notts County. You know, a lot of the younger guys there have seen just heartbreak, and they're in the National League. They're coming back up as well. You know, so maybe they're going to see a miracle perform. But we've seen this. We've waited so long, 20 odd years to get back into the Prem. Now we're in a semi-final of a cup. You've got to be grateful. Just take every game as it comes and enjoy every moment, and give the lads a standing ovation. They deserve it, regardless of the result. Regardless of the result at Manchester United tomorrow night, look how far we've come. Everybody doubted us, and we've done it. I'm proud. I'm proud. Very proud. You know, and to come off that deadline day subject, and I know this is a deadline day stream, so we'll keep it short and concise, my passionate rant. But I'm just so proud of all the players. They've come on leaps and bounds. You know, some of the younger guys, Brennan, for example, really starting to come into his, into real confidence, you know, really making that impact. You know, nominated for Player of the Month, and you know, with the likes of Marcus Rashford and other great players in the Premier League. He's doing us proud. Morgan Gibbs-White proving the doubters wrong again. Joe Worrell doing it. Renan Loddy, Dean Henderson, Serge Aurier, even from our own fan base. You know, amazing. Anything can happen. And as Derek says here, look, 18th of December 1977. Forest won 4-0 against Man United. Can we recreate the greatness from 1977? But we'll have to see. 10 minutes to go now. As you mentioned, deal sheets, yes. It's just amazing. Scott, really well put. Can't ask for any more in our cup ventures last couple of years, and along with promotion, to sit where we are now in the Premier League. Come on, you Reds. Max Smith joins us in the lobby. Max, just bear with me one moment. I'm going to quickly edit the banner, because it is no longer 15 minutes to go. We only have 10 minutes to go until the transfer window closes. Max Smith, how you doing?
Hello, buddy. How are you? You all right?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate.
Good. So, big transfer deadline day. As you know, we've been speaking about it in chat. What do you make of those signings and potentially the announcement of Navas that's incoming?
Well, as I said in chat earlier, it was me that was talking. I'm definitely excited about Navas, as you were saying. I've been excited for it for a while. Obviously, there was a small rumor about him in summer, I think it was, which I was hoping for. But then we got Henderson, which, don't get me wrong, I like Henderson. I think he's brilliant. Felipe, I think he's solid. It's good to get someone in with some experience. JONJO Shelvey, he's a good player, bit injury prone for me, but I do think he's good. He can get you he's that type of person that can get you a last minute goal that could come in very crucial. But I wouldn't say anything's been awful. I don't think there's been any bad decisions. Something tells me that maybe the JONJO Shelvey move wasn't something that Steve Cooper wanted. A little bit like some of the ones in summer that I don't think were things that he wanted. Some of the players that didn't necessarily get game time. There was some that I don't think he wanted. I think he works well a lot better with the younger players. But that's just my opinion. But we haven't done anything wrong this window, definitely, in my opinion.
So it's a good assessment overall, I think. Well, what kind of makes you feel like Steve Cooper didn't want JONJO Shelvey, that it wasn't a Steve Cooper signing necessarily?
Like I said, I just think he works better with the younger players, in my opinion. He seemed to, when he first joined last season, and then he got his January transfer window, the players that he signed, Jed Spence, James Garner, well, not signed, sorry, loaned, they were all younger. But then, yeah, again, like I said, I could be very wrong. He has signed Scarpa, who I believe is he 29, 30? He's
20, yeah, right.
Yeah. Felipe, the experience, it's nothing bad. You can't complain about it. So, but I just feel we have got quite a few midfielders, but like you were saying earlier, Ryan Yates is injured. We don't know how long he could be out for. Lewis O'Brien looks to be on his way for a little bit. So it's not a bad signing. Like I said, I just didn't think it. I didn't expect it. Is more what I was meaning.
Well, I mean, yeah, it definitely came out of the blue, and it did develop within the day of John Percy tweeting it just to going absolutely mental, and then him signing. So, you know, it did happen in a short period of time. And with a lot of transfers, you do see it like we've been tracking a player for so long, and then this happens. But it just happens so quickly. So, yeah, I'm inclined to agree on that. Now, Nick Hemfield provides us with the breakdown of January transfers. A free transfer, Scarpa, £16 million for Danilo, 20 million euros. A loan for Chris Wood. I think it'd be, well, technically a loan for Chris Wood and Navas, and then £2 million for Felipe. What would you make of that transfer business in terms of the value, the money spent? Is it astute business from Nottingham Forest? Have they been quite sensible and efficient?
I think so. Because you look at, it's just coming up now. I'm watching the Sky Sports as well that Tottenham have just signed Pedro Porro. They've not announced how much yet. But it was mainly Chelsea earlier for me. I honestly seem to think they might have forgotten about financial fair play, the amount of players they've signed. And it just feels like the first price that's asked, they're not trying to like wangle that down. They're just accepting it and throwing money at people, just trying to get these players, which I'm glad is something we haven't done. The deals have taken a lot longer to try and get over the line, which definitely is a better sign, because I wouldn't want to go out there, go up to someone like JONJO Shelvey, Newcastle, try and think they can get. Nottingham Forest, they spent a lot in summer. Oh yeah, will you accept this much for him? And we straight away just turn around and go, yeah, that's perfect, and just throw money at them really. Which like I said, I'm glad we haven't done. We've been sensible in my opinion.
Well, I'm going to ask you one last question then. Navas is on his way. Navas or Henderson? It's a bit of a question that we've been asking. Do you think that Navas can play the backup role, or do you think he's there to be the first team keeper for Nottingham Forest?
I think Navas. I think Henderson's done very well this season. He had a poor start. Well, I wouldn't say poor, maybe it was a little bit rough, but the entire team did really. It's a tricky one because I think Navas could quite easily come in and go straight into the first team. But then at the same time, Henderson, in my opinion, hasn't done anything wrong to get kicked out of the first team. They're both great keepers, and it's down to Steve Cooper at the end of the day. But I wouldn't be mad if he picked Navas. I wouldn't be mad if he picked Henderson. Either or, I would be happy enough with, definitely.
Well, Navas, as Fabrizio Romano says, is very much a Nottingham Forest player now. Documents signed, sealed, and delivered, and it's all ready. It's all ready to go. So a bit of a surreal moment for Nottingham Forest fans, and I'm sure yourself, Max. But I really appreciate you joining me. It's exciting stuff. I might actually have to buy a goalkeeper kit for once. I never thought I'd say it.
I've had my fair few of goalkeeper kits in my time.
You've had a fair few. Well, fair play, my friend. I've not actually had many yet. So maybe this is one I will have to go and get.
Absolutely.
Well, pleasure to speak to you, Max. Take care now, my friend. We've got another 3 minutes left of the deadline. 4 minutes left of the deadline. The lights are still on at the City Ground. Max, thank you very much for joining us, and take care, my friend.
Thank you very much, Jay. I'll speak to you later.
Take care now. So, as Dore confirms, lights are still on at the City Ground. Still work to be done. Keylor Navas, just over an hour or two ago, was flying in to England. And I don't know what the time flight-wise is like from Paris, but probably an hour and a half. Who knows? Could we see Keylor Navas in a Nottingham Forest shirt before the clock strikes 12? And it is February. Could we? He's a Forest player. Everything's signed. Documents done. No disputing that. Announcement hasn't happened yet, though. Really appreciate your comments there. I hope you've enjoyed the stream, by the way. There is a tweet from Forest. Lights still on. It's time for Keylor Navas to Nottingham Forest. Here we go. It's going to be confirmed in just a few moments' time. Bear with us. There is just 2 minutes left of the transfer window. 2 minutes. 1 minute and 50 seconds left of this transfer window. There's been a tweet from Forest. I feel like I'm commentating on a game now because that's what it feels like. I feel like I'm doing penalties on the commentary. Waiting, refreshing the phone to see and find out if Keylor Navas, we're going to see him in a Forest shirt before the end of the night. I've just got that feeling. They're going to do it bang on the moment it strikes 11. 1 minute left of the deadline. 1 minute left. This is exciting stuff. $50 seconds. Fabrizio Romano has tweeted Costa Rica underneath the Nottingham Forest post. It's almost time. And it is not Carl Darlow. Don't say that. Let's not ruin it just yet. It's been an exciting window. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you this stream. And honestly, it's been, just an amazing window. I've really enjoyed bringing you some content, bringing you transfer news. I'm glad that I'm going to be able to get a bit of a rest now and relax. And I'm sure Fabrizio Romano is as well. I'm so excited to be able to sleep a little bit. The transfer deadline is over. The transfer window is closed. Nottingham Forest have announced Keylor Navas. Sorry, JONJO Shelvey. They've announced JONJO Shelvey, not Keylor Navas. And I got excited there. It's JONJO Shelvey, who I'm still still as excited for. But Fabrizio Romano was tricked into thinking it was Keylor Navas, but instead it's JONJO Shelvey. Really exciting stuff. JONJO Shelvey has signed. Felipe has signed. We're waiting for one more announcement. We're going to give it 5 minutes. I've got a feeling there's going to be another one coming very soon. Well, JONJO Shelvey announced there for Nottingham Forest. Great there. And good to see him in a Nottingham Forest shirt. A very influential midfielder. He's going to do absolutely great business for us this season. So a good bit of business there by Nottingham Forest to sign Shelvey. Messi. No, okay. We all like saying that every now and then. Great show, Jay. Really appreciate it, Michael. Guys, if you did enjoy, please let me know. I know that it's been kind of umming and ahhing, a bit of stuttering. There's been the odd pause, a bit of silence here and there whilst there's been a tweet being made or anything. This is deadline day. It's a hectic day all round. And I can only hope that this time next year I'm doing a deadline day on Sky. That's the dream. But I love this. Loved it. And I just want to actually take a moment to thank Door for allowing me to do this show. I really appreciate it. I know it can disrupt the usual kind of slots for doing things like YouTube content. So I know that it's not always easy to fit in a 2 hour, 15-minute show into your slots. So I really appreciate Door letting me do this. I really appreciate him trusting me to do this. And it's I'm just in shock. Let's hit the like button, not just for me. Let's hit it for Door. Just can't believe it. It's just amazing. Sky Sports not sure Forest did deal for Navas in time. I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure they have, because as Fabrizio says, everything's signed, all the documents are done. So regardless of whether he's been announced, everything is ready. And if you guys want to see more deadline day stuff in the future, then let me know. I'll be more than happy to do summer, January, just covering transfers, being a general transfer correspondent. And I know that people give me stick on Twitter. I'm just sharing news from Nottingham Forest. I just want to say I've never claimed for it to be an exclusive. There was one last week about Tanganga and the inquiry. That was genuinely something I got told. But I just share Forest news. I always credit the journalist. I always try to add a little bit of my own, a bit of context to the situation and add some of my own thoughts to make it more interesting. I just enjoy sharing Forest news and just bringing you what I have heard, and just bringing you genuinely what I've heard, and being able to discuss and talk to you guys about it just makes it really fun. You need to get the yellow tie. Oh, I knew I'd forgotten something. Oh my goodness. I actually do have a yellow tie. Does anybody want to see a yellow tie? If you want to see a yellow tie, you've got to ask Door to come on and hold the show just for a minute whilst I get my yellow tie on. If you want to see it, then I've got it. I have actually got a yellow tie somewhere around here, I think. I'm pretty sure I do. I think I do. Wait, 1 second. Okay. So I've got my... Here we go. It's in typical Jim White fashion now. I'm going to lift my collar up. That'd help, wouldn't it? Look, the yellow tie on the Labats. Come on. Oh, let's get Door on the stream. Let's chuck him on there. He's only just joining in.
Going on.
Door, you wanted to see the yellow tie, my friend.
Yeah, you got to get the yellow tie on.
I didn't have
people. Everyone who's enjoyed the show, there's 91 people in. Please hit the thumbs up if you've enjoyed the show. Jay's been done an incredible job. And yes, I'm good to see JONJO Shelvey has signed for Nottingham Forest.
Wearing the number 6.
I'm loving it. So people, hit the like button if you can. He's got the yellow tie. People, get the thumbs up, man. Get the thumbs up. Jay has got the yellow tie on.
Look at this. Yellow tie's on. Collar does not fit it by any means. stay
Well,
with us.
Yeah, I can't stay for long because my laptop's going to die.
He's going to die. Don't worry. Well, listen, guys, we're going to end it here.
We're going to
Got
end
me a
it.
tie on. It's been a pleasure to bring you the transfer news this evening. I've absolutely loved it. And yeah, that's deadline day with me, J Martin. Let's do it again sometime in the future. But from me and from Dore, that's everything. Take care, everybody. Thank you for listening. Forest till I die. And yeah, we'll see you all very, very soon.